Good morning. Everybody up and about this morning? Hope we're doing well. I just got my new office, my studio office done at the house. So I'm kind of getting the lighting all set right in it and everything. I think it's going to be really cool when it's done. I got a 3D wall I was showing Brittany this morning, trying to get light to my 3D wall so people can see it. It looks really cool. Let me see. Yeah, it's weird about electricity. If you don't plug things in, they don't work that well. All right. So, all right, we'll give everybody a couple minutes to get on. I usually give till 5 after for everybody to get in. And I'll answer if anybody's got any questions that are open from Tuesday or anything like that. We'll use that time for that. Any thoughts, feelings, emotions from there. And if not, anybody got anything, just unmute yourself if you got something, and if you can unmute yourself. Can they do that, Brittany?
They cannot. So if you'll just put in the chat if you have questions, I'll unmute you.
Yeah, just raise your hand if you have a question, and we'll she's like any good woman, she has the ability to shut everybody up. She does a good job. Especially me. She'll mute me out if I'm not careful. All right, 42, we're good. We have 3 more minutes and we'll get rolling. What a power, yeah. To shut me up is quite a power.
Hey, Perry. Kevin says we should review step by step what we should be doing to start this business POD.
Okay. What does that mean? I think that's the point of the whole exercise. Hold on.
And
Yeah,
Ron,
are we not doing that?
And Ron wanted to know if all the equipment has been claimed.
We got extra in. I think right now they're piecing it together from different sources right now. I think we're good. So we just need to if everybody has not made their declaration on that, yeah, you need to get that to Stephen right away. Brittany, can you put Stephen's information there again for him so we can make that done? And then we'll get stuff shipped. We'll get stuff shipped this week. Yes, there's a link to my prompts and you'll get it next week when we do art. I'm not going to get ahead for you. I'm not going to get you guys ahead because you're going to skip fundamentals if you do. I know you will. So I'm not going to let you do it because you guys will be out screwing off on AIR and not doing your basics. I don't want you to miss your fundamentals because it'll make a difference to you. All right. 2 more minutes and then we'll roll. Any other questions? Are y'all shipping to Canada? Yeah, but I don't know about your VATs up there. They may charge you a VAT tax to come over the border. I'm not sure. And we'll see if we can get a supplier there to ship it. There is a broker up there that we can use sometimes that we don't have to pay the VATs. We can ship it from Canada. It's a stocking distributor there. So we'll see if we can get them there. Cool. Clients and states. I love Canada. I enjoy time in Canada. Canada's a beautiful country. I have a lot of fun up there if I go in the summer. All right, let's get it rolling. All right, so I'm going to give you guys a document real quick that we're going to work from today. If you've been on other trainings with me, you know that I really like working from Google Documents. So I'm going to share this Google document with you. And you'll have it. This document will be updated for every week's lesson. So the entire 4-week program, or actually 5 weeks, because I'm going to add a bonus at the end. The entire 5-week program is going to be annotated in this document. And there it is. So it right now, it only has the information in it for today's lesson. And we'll start from the top there. So if you do have questions during the process, be sure to raise your hand and Brittany will open up. But what I like to do is run through this, give you the lesson, and then I'll open up for Q&A at the end. So that you guys, if you have a question that doesn't get answered, it's your own fault, because I'm going to be here until you get everything answered you need answered. All right. So our lesson one, let me see, for the Q&A at the end, please use reaction. Okay, that's Chad. Okay, cool. That says it's Chad. Where it says it's Chad, that's not Chad, that's Brittany using Chad's account. So she's much prettier than Chad, I promise. All right. So let me share screen and we'll start on that doc. Can you enable share screen sharing for me, please, Brittany? No. All right. So this is a doc we're going to be working out of. We're going to talk about market selection today. So, obviously I wanted to recap, I want to add a couple little stats for you that I've found recently that might make you feel better about your decision. I read a report day before yesterday talking about print on demand, that it's currently a $6 billion industry. The fastest growth of print on demand, believe it or not, is in the Asian Pacific rim. They're really buying customized goods in Asian countries right now. And with some of the print on demand suppliers that I gave you, you can ship directly to those Asian countries if you wanted to run traffic there and be a little more creative. But we're doing very, very well here in the United States. The first graph here is a chart from Google Trends showing this is the last 5 years of interest in print on demand. So you can see what's happening to the interest of the category. The digital, this is one of the biggest things I think that I pay attention to when I'm deciding what I'm going to do, if I'm going to get into an arena or not. Let me see if I can zoom this in a little bit. I don't know how to zoom it anymore. But I pay attention to what the estimated growth is in the industry, and digital textile printing in the United States, 13.3% a year is the anticipated growth for the next 10 years. So just by being in the business at all, you should be able to take advantage of some of that windfall. That's just the North American market, by the way, growing 13.3% a year. And I know I talked earlier about why I talk a lot about t-shirts, because t-shirts are a bit of a bellwether for the business. But honestly, you'll see in a minute, I was going to put it in here. T-shirts are a $6.2 billion global industry right now. But wall decor is $58.2 billion. So roughly 10 times bigger. So when you guys start thinking about the other things that you can print, the other things that you can make outside just t-shirts, it's going to really broaden your horizons, especially monetarily. There's also a Reddit. It's in the r/entrepreneur Reddit. There's an interview with a guy who started Sock Club, which is a printed sock monthly box program. And they're doing $1 million a month in printed socks right now. So I tell you that just to say that I hope you won't just box yourself into just making t-shirts. It's not the business to be in. It's a good business. It's okay, but it's incredibly competitive. These other spaces are far less competitive. You're dealing with way, way, way less people. And excuse me. And you can be just as creative with the design. So what are the benefits of being in this business right now? Unlimited inventory. You basically have an unlimited amount of virtual inventory that you can show with your mockups. You can test and scale the winners. It makes a great tripwire if you're building another business. If you're building a business outside just wanting to be in the swag business. AI, the timing is perfect with AI Midjourney art. The trend lines are all in your favor, and you already have training. A lot of you guys I know that are in here are longer term students of mine and longer term friends and associates of mine that I know already have marketing training. So you guys have a huge advantage over the average bear right now. You already know how to sell stuff. I see somebody with a Sam Cart shirt on, taking a drink of water right now. Good morning. So like running funnels in Sam Cart to sell shirts and hats and swag, it absolutely works. In fact, I'll talk about that in week 3. We cannot beat a funnel for selling swag versus Shopify. Everybody tells you go get a Shopify store. My funnels selling swag usually beat my Shopify stores 2-1. So we'll talk about that in 3rd week, but you already have training, right? So if it's so great, why do people still fail at print on demand? The number one reason by far is poor design. People think that they can put anything on a shirt, anything on a mug, anything on a hat. And if they stick enough crap out there, they'll make a living selling some. It's just not true. The more time and attention you spend on design, both digitally researching the design and making the most clever design you possibly can, the better. I'm going to show you a shirt in a minute that I used to be in Texas. I used to live in Texas, and I had a store in a mall, and there was a Texas t-shirt store there. And I'll never forget it. This was probably 15 years ago. And they sold 25 different designs of Texas t-shirts. And one design of shirt sold 50% of the sales on the whole cart. Half, one design. And it's sort of like the IPAC gun shirt that I sell. I sell 50 other gun shirts. 49 of them together can't make up anywhere near the sales I made from one shirt, from that IPAC shirt. Getting that one signature design can outpace everything. You know, Russell always says you're one funnel away, right? You're one really great design away. The thing is, it's going to take a lot of them to figure out, you know, probably which one's which. But don't throw a lot of crap out in the market. Do your very best to figure out the coolest looking thing you can come up with. Second reason people fail, they test too few items. So they go out and say, okay, I'm going to make 3 designs and I want to get rich in print on demand. And if those 3 don't hit, they quit. And this business is a little bit like the music business. It has a lot of similarities. You know, back in the day, they still do to some extent, I guess, digitally, but artists would record albums because they didn't really know what the hit song was going to be. They record 10, 12, 13 songs on an album, and 1 or 2 would be a hit. And if an album was a smash, it had 4 hits on it out of 12 songs, right? But generally speaking, you had 1 hit per album. So basically 1 hit per 12 to 13 songs, if you were lucky. If you charted with 1 song out of an album, you were really lucky. This business is a lot like that. And you really don't know what design's going to win until you put it out there. I've got some good intelligent stuff to show you today, but you won't really know until you get it out there. You can certainly move the odds in your favor. Just like today, I detest modern country music. I absolutely hate it. I'm a country music fan. I absolutely hate modern country music. But you know what? I'm an old dude, right? I'm not the typical music buyer out there in the market right now. The biggest music consumers are always 18 to 34, and the market is playing to those trends. So you are not your market, right? The third reason I think I see people fail is just not niching down. They're not working within a genre or a subgenre or a series of subgenres that they know quite a lot about and they enjoy, and they're really not getting vested. They're just trying to find every good selling shirt out there in the market and duplicate it and try to make money that way. And you can make some money that way, but it's a much longer grind. You're going to have to put out way more designs. It's interesting because when you know your audience and you know your customer, like I was looking today at one of the research tools I'll show you today, and we were looking at Father's Day shirts, right? So I have an audience of Christian conservative, gun-toting, survivalist dudes, right? So I have a huge advantage because I can take any of those Father's Day designs that are out there right now and put a patriotic spin on them and make them my own. It's sort of like being, when Rod Stewart sings a song or Willie Nelson sings a song or Dolly Parton sings a song, they stylize that song to them. It's their song from there on. And if you can stylize these things into whatever it is, the genre that you want to be in, you'll find that ideas come really, really easy. And then you just put them into your wrapper, right? Fourth, there's no brand connection. So I'm going to talk to you guys today about something you probably hadn't thought about at all. And that's creating a brand for whatever line that you're doing. And if you create your own brand, you have a huge advantage. Some friends of mine have a brand called Salt Life, and it's all about saltwater fishermen and people that do things in the ocean, right? And the Salt Life brand has been just huge. And they just started off selling T-shirts that were oceany, kind of big game fishing T-shirts. And now they're a multi-million dollar company because they built this brand around this, what was originally a print on demand business. And fourthly, thin margins. People stay stuck in test phase, right? They're going out to the print on demand platforms. They're testing their stuff. And when they get a winner, they're leaving that winner in that test phase, accepting those really lousy margins. And they never hit scale because they can't afford to buy traffic. Okay. So before we go into your niche, your exact niche that you want to be in, the first thing we have to do is really define what it is that you want, right? Is this business intended just to sell swag? There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, by the way. You can say, I want to sell swag. I want to sell lots and lots of T-shirts and mugs and hats and belts and rugs and blankets and crap like that. And if you want to do that, that's an awesome business to be in. It's a little bit more work, right? Because you don't have bigger ticket back ends, right, as slack adjusters in your business. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with that because you have the advantage of having a lot more consumers. So for instance, if you decide you're going to sell stuff in the pet market, right? And, you could have a brand like Mutt Life and just sell pet designs for people with mixed breed dogs, right? That could be a brand, right? You could still make back end money from them if you build a list of your buyers and non-buyers, but it's probably not going to be like a really big back end, big ticket thing, right? That's probably not going to happen. But you've got millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of pet owners globally to sell to, where if you decide that, well, I don't want to do that, I want to make really niche stuff for people that are in the solar business that other solar professionals will buy, and then I can get them on my list and I can sell them my solar coaching and my higher ticket stuff, and it's a way for them to get to know me and all that. You can do much lower volume, but you're going to work the back end up. So it really just depends on what your objective is. And your third objective being maybe you just want to be local or wholesale fundraising partner to influencers or to third party to nonprofits, and you're competing on the technical advantage that you have of direct-to-film printing and the fact that you've got $1 million print room in your back pocket, right? Which gives you an advantage in a local market or a small market where people aren't used to that technology yet. The stuff that we have, the equipment we have, and the abilities that we have, I'd say probably right now 99% of printers nationwide don't have. There are some handful of really big ones that do, right? But they're usually taking on really, really, really big jobs. So the little local print shop in, Paducah, Kentucky, I'll use that's my hometown. The little hometown guy there, he's still pulling a squeegee down while he screen prints T-shirts. And any one of you could go into that market and just annihilate that guy because you can offer unlimited colors for the same price that he's going to do for a one color, probably even less. Right. So when you realize that, and you can take that transfer technology and put it on tote bags and shirts and backpacks and hats and all these other things, you have a huge advantage. So defining your market, I'm going to talk today mostly about consumer markets. But if your objective is a higher value market, feel free to speak up, and I'll clarify those things as we go through. So let's say that you're going primarily consumer market for sake of argument today. How are you going to select a niche, right? Well, obviously, there's some really big ones that we're going to go over in a minute that you can sub-niche in, but how are you going to pick? Because there are so many. There are 20 or 30 primary markets, and then in each primary market, there's probably 100 submarkets. And so really, you're going to do the best when you're offering products in an arena of something that you like, that you enjoy, because you're going to see the cleverness or the cuteness of a thing that someone else might not, right? Like in the gardening space right now, our best-selling shirt just says, I wet my plants. And it's super cute to a gardener. It's not super cute to anybody else, right? So you wouldn't see that as, or, in sewing, we've got a shirt that says, if you see my seam ripper, now is not a good time. So most people, you guys probably don't even know what a damn seam ripper is if you're not a person who sews. It's a thing that takes out thread when you've made a mistake sewing. So you have to take the thread out and start all over again. These kinds of things, you'll come up with those best ideas. You'll come up with those very best ideas when you know the market, right? Also, is your market evergreen? There are always seasonal markets, and you can make almost any market seasonal, but you can't make every market evergreen. So when you're into things that are only related to summer activities or winter activities or things like that, it kind of messes you up from your growth perspective. So I like to work on markets that are evergreen. They're not changing, and people are still interested in them every day. I'm going to show you a cheat real quick. I'm going to go over to ChatGPT, and I'm going to show you how to cheat if you don't know a market well. And even if you do, because some of you are not the most exciting people in the world. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some people are a little boring. Some people are not great writers. Some people are not great orators, right? So I'm going to show you an example of something that I did that you could do. I really wish they had a search feature. You can create an expert that is kind of a caricature of yourself, or you could create somebody who's not a caricature of anyone. It's just a I'll get there in a second. Where is it at? Trying to find my gardening expert. So I create experts now for each of my niche markets. You saw me making graphics of them. I'll come back to how I do it in just a second. If I can't find this, gosh, this is ridiculous. I've got so much in here now. It's almost impossible to sort. There we go. So I ask ChatGPT, this is a pretty long thing. So I want to create a fictional writer who can write and rewrite articles for me. Do you understand? Yes, I understand. Her name is Susan Wilson. She's a gardening expert and syndicated columnist over 100 newspapers, the subject of gardening. She was raised in the deep South in Birmingham, Alabama, and learned to write in the style of Paula Dean Lewis Grizzard. She's funny, witty, and a bit sarcastic. She writes to the 5th grade level. in first-person conversational style. Do you understand? Yes, I understand. Susan often tells stories and folklore in her writing. She was raised by her grandmother and grew up on a farm where she sustained herself. The farm provided everything they needed. Do you understand? And then I ask it, what else do you think readers would want to know about Susan? So it gave me a bunch of suggestions, right? So maybe you're into gardening and that's what your subject's going to be. You're going to do stuff for gardeners. So you might want to create a person like Susan, and you don't have to call her Susan. You can write as her, or you could, when you're out in the forums or whatever, you could be her or you could be yourself and just use her tones, right? So it came up with an appearance for her, a personality, a background, a gardening philosophy, a writing style. And I'll show you in a minute, it even created an image of her. It created a prompt for me to make an image of her in Midjourney. So she's now our gardening expert. And I had it write a byline, a profile for her, and then a byline for her. And then I ask it for her to rewrite this article as Susan. So it's an article on growing mushrooms. I'll get to why this matters to you in just a second. But you can see here, hey, y'all, it's Susan. I'm a gardening expert. Do you also know I love to grow mushrooms? That's right. I'm a fun guy to be around. So the ChatGPT character has all this character to it, all this humor to it, all these things that may not fit your mood today. So how can you use this in this space? Well, number one, if you don't know a lot of the vocabulary in an industry, if you are in something you're kind of interested in, you can create a character like this and it'll do two things for you. Let me ask it here. Please give me 10 vocabulary terms gardeners use that most people don't know. Deadheading, heading off, compost decay, mulch, perennials, rosemia. I don't even know what that is. So here's some terms: heirloom, thinning. So these are things that you might want to use when you're talking to people in groups. So like if you're going to be, when you're in test phase and you're wanting to introduce yourself to groups in your niche, like gardening groups, you want to use their vocabulary when you're talking to them. That's the reason it's better if you know the subject. But if you don't, this is a great way to have the subject. Let's see. Have Susan tell me 5 gardening jokes. Why the scarecrow won an award. She was outstanding in her field. That's great. But one of the things you can do here, you can go into groups and start finding questions people are asking in the groups and come back here and have Susan answer those questions. She's a gardening expert and syndicated columnist. So now you can go back to the group, answer the questions for the people. And this is a way you introduce yourself to groups, by creating value, by not just going in and spamming them with what you have for sale. So if you don't know the market, you can use ChatGPT to create the vocabulary, the voice, and all that for you, and start answering questions inside. Groups. This is a great place, Jamie, for your kids to start. They can start going into Facebook groups and answering questions. If they don't know the answers, they can go ask their own expert that they own, that they have back in their pocket. And pretty soon you answer 3 or 4 questions with a nice, big, long answer. And that's really informative. People, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And now you're a welcome member in that community. So when you come in holding your new coffee mug or wearing your new shirt or have on your new hat or whatever you want to promote it, they're going to be fine with that. They're going to ask you where they got it. Does that make sense, guys? Does everybody understand that? Jim, you're going to kill yourself with those damn things. All right. So let's talk about the prime markets. Pets are an enormous market. $11 billion spent last year on pet products, pet accessories. And the more and more of that market's being eaten up with custom. Custom's probably 10 to 12% of that. So you're probably looking at $1 billion, $1.5 billion worth of custom pet products made last year, right? So pet's one of the bigger print on demand markets. But when you look at the subsets, like this is the 13 most popular mixed breed dogs, the Pomsky, the Yorkapoo, the Chug, the Morkie, right? If you go out looking for coffee mugs for French Bulldogs right now, yeah, there's 10 million of them, right? But when you get down to the Morkie, there's probably not very many at all. And these people are going to be really excited to see something around their pet, right? And you can eventually run Facebook ads for that. You can run Instagram scrapes for that. You can do all sorts of things. You go in the Morkie groups or build a Morkie group. Chad's going to come in and show you guys how to build big Facebook groups. In week 3, he's going to show you how to build big Facebook groups. Super easy. Activism is always big. It's great for fundraising. If you're a big time conservative or a big time feminist, or, you know, right now, the biggest selling t-shirts in the country right now, I'm going to show you what they are in a minute and how I found that information out. They're split right now. 50% of the best selling t-shirts today are for Father's Day. They're dad related. 50% are Gay Pride Week related. So there's always something big going on in the world. There's Black History Month. There are people protesting the war in Ukraine. All these things are going on. You're about to come up on the election. There's always going to be activism out there in the marketplace, and people want to wear that on their sleeve. They want people to know what they stand for. And you can write this down if you didn't write it down on the original webinar. People buy things. Burn this into your brain. People buy things that remind themselves and tell others who they are. People buy things that remind themselves and tell others who they are. If you drive a Maserati, you want to tell people you're a big shot. If you drive a Prius, you want to tell people you care about the environment. If you wear crazy outlandish clothes, you want to be noticed. If you wear more subdued stuff, you don't want to be. But people, even, it's funny, subcultures, there are all these subcultures of people desperately wanting to connect, but they're afraid of one another. So the way they connect is by outward appearances, and hopefully they run into somebody like them. You know, they've got Fish and Grateful Dead stickers all over their car or their VW van. So hopefully they run into other people with Fish and Grateful Dead stickers, and now they can all sit around and talk and meet each other and drop acid and spin dance. But it's all about what you're into and getting to see somebody. If you notice, like really popular thing right now, if you haven't paid attention to it, if you're in a Starbucks lately, everybody's decaling the crap out of their laptops. They're selling, there's lots of stickers being sold now. So people can put, the bumper sticker has been replaced by the laptop sticker. So there's people sitting in Starbucks with stickers all over their laptop. Why do you think they have them there? They're outwardly expressing themselves. That's what they're trying to do, right? Family is always great. Like I said earlier, I've got a friend of mine that does family reunion t-shirts. That's all he does. He prints family reunion shirts. And they'll buy those 20, 30 at a time for 10 or 12 bucks a piece. It's really great money. That might be something you want to address. Humor goes across all genres. Funny is money. It's always going to work. Hobbies, the weirder the better. You know, whatever you're into. People are into very weird stuff like curling or Civil War reenactment, or, a friend of mine, Adam Lyons, goes out in the woods and dresses up like Robin Hood, and they have all those jousts and all that crazy crap. He buys anything related to that. He doesn't care what it is. He loves that stuff. Career. This was a really good example. So this little mug here, is just for people who use Excel, mostly accountants, but people who are Excel people. And I was looking this up today on an app, and this thing's got like a 42,000 rating on, I think it's a 42,000 BSR rating on, BSN rating rather, on Amazon, which means it's probably selling 8 to 10 mugs a day just through the Amazon platform. Because it's a mug for people who dig on Excel, right? That's so crazy. But people, it tends that this works really well for people who work in an office, who work around other people in office, because they get to, people buy them as gifts for other people, or they buy them for themselves and set them out so people can see what they're all about, right? Events and holidays don't have the asterisk by them for evergreen. But I can tell you this, your biggest goal right now should be learning and understanding this business so you can be ready for fourth quarter. Because in customized goods, you're going to make half of your money in fourth quarter. Half for the whole year. You're making one quarter, maybe more than half, maybe 60 or 70%, depending on what market you go for. So you need to pay close attention to the holidays, but there are also great holidays right now, like Father's Day is coming up right now. Today we've switched over the last couple of days. All of our common merchandise that we're selling, we've gotten rid of now, and all we're promoting is Father's Day merchandise. But it's Father's Day for gun guys, right? It's Father's Day for survival guys. It's Father's Day for conservatives. It's Father's Day for patriot stuff, because that's my audience. And then I'll go back to more common goods. But when there's another holiday, boom, I'm right back out there in a holiday schedule, because the holidays give people reasons to buy things. The thing is, we are a consumerist society right now. There's no doubt about it. We have been for some time. Everything else that we ever used to do that was fun is now illegal. So the only thing that we're allowed to do that's fun is spend money. And our government and society and Madison Avenue and corporations have done a really great job at making that the only thing that's fun, right? And people want to spend money. They just have to be given the slightest reason, just the slightest reason. Space and science is actually really good. Sci-fi, I'd put into that too. If you've not been to thinkgeek.com, it's a great little site that all they have is merch that has to do with quirky little weird stuff. Like, let me see if I can go to the site. And this is a multi-million-dollar business, by the way. This is no joke. Oh, I guess it got bought by GameStop. Look at that. How crazy. So they were for the longest time just a gift shop for geeks. They were a gift shop for programmers and sci-fi people and gamers. The gamer market right now, if you guys if somebody on here wants a bajillion-dollar idea right now, I got one for you. Because you could take these video games where they create their own characters, like a World of Warcraft and all that. We can absolutely print. They can send us that character. We can put that on a blanket. Their favorite anime girl, we could put that on a blanket. They could sleep with her at night. That sounds crazy. But they absolutely, these guys design these game figures, and that's their game figure. It's their character. And the games put them out in high resolution. So you can take that high resolution and print it and sell that gamer his game figure or her game figure in wall art, reverse acrylic art, mugs, hats, blankets, shirts, anything, right? Fitness, always going to be huge. My kid's got all these different things that he wears to the gym because he's a fitness buff, fitness influencer guy. Astrology just never stops. Astrology, tarot, anything mystic always does really well. And you can mash. I'm going to talk about that in a minute, of kind of mashing things up with astrology and careers and sports and nostalgia. And you can mix these when you mash them. I'll give you an example. I used to sell a lot of Kindle books. We actually did a big course on it years ago and made a lot of people a lot of money in that space. But one of the things we found, if we released a book on camping, we sold some. If we released a recipe book, we sold some. But if we released a book on camping recipes, we sold 10 times more because we crossed two genres. You follow? We crossed two genres at the same time. So we were able to hit these very specific people who were looking for a very specific thing. Music, any kind of, right now, there's a great opportunity in doing AI art of musicians for goods. How is that going to reflect out? I'm going to put two asterisks by that. Okay. So people that play weird instruments are easy. Like if you play the xylophone, there's not a lot of people with xylophone shirts. If you play guitar, that market's killed, right? But if you want to put famous musicians on shirts with an artistic rendering, in today's market, that's legal to do, as long as you didn't render that from any singular photograph, right? That may or may not change as laws are going to, AI is going to throw the intellectual property law rule book upside down. I think it might just go away, frankly. I think intellectual property law, in a lot of ways, it's going to be really watered down because it's going to be hard to not do that. Because you look at people like Warhol has won in Supreme Court that he can paint his version of Prince if he wants to, but he lost the case. I think it was Marilyn Monroe or Prince, when he took a photograph, somebody else's photograph, and used it as an overlay and painted over it. He couldn't do that. The Supreme Court held he couldn't do that. But if you just look at recordings, pictures of, if I look at 10 pictures of Frank Sinatra and I decide to paint a Frank Sinatra, then under today's law, and I'm not a lawyer, but under today's law, that's considered a fair use. So it gives you a huge opportunity for people who love certain musicians, certain actors, and you see a lot of it on Etsy where the guys, they'll have like, was it Heisenberg was in Breaking Bad, right? You get a lot of Heisenberg here. Any kind of nostalgia always works. You can do stuff right now in the style of Norman Rockwell. It's kind of cool, and Midjourney. So anything that reminds people of old days, you're seeing like T-shirts with old video game consoles on them, like old Nintendo consoles on them that kids are buying right now. Because there's something called the 30-year rule. I need to tell you guys about that. There's a thing called the 30-year rule that you shouldn't ignore. So basically, I know some of us in here. Richard, how old are you? Do you mind saying? I guess he's muted out. You want to hold it up? Just do this many? A lot. So when your favorite car growing up, when you were a kid in high school, there was probably a Corvette or a Camaro or a Mustang or something that you just salivated over. Well, 30 years forward, for your generation, it's probably the same generation as mine, that'll be the hottest selling classic car there is, because old dudes like us finally got money. And what do we want to do? We want to go back and buy that. And that's been normal for a long time. What we find really weird now, right, is that what's popular now, people are paying $10,000 for a pair of sneakers, Jordans, right? Guess what? Because 30 years ago, those people who are now 45, right, younger than us, they wanted Jordans in high school and they couldn't afford them. So now they're collecting classic Jordans, or they're collecting classic video game consoles or things like that. So there's a 30-year rule. So anything that happened, if you're targeting a market that's 50, if you look back at what was popular 30 years ago for them, that's going to be a great nostalgic market. And that's a well-known rule in advertising, by the way. If you look at everybody thought it was crazy that Old Navy had that ad campaign sometime back where they had Salt and Pepper and all these old school rappers as their spokespeople, old school bands and rappers and musicians as their spokespeople. But those were the people who were popular 30 years ago to the parents that are taking their kids into Old Navy to buy right now. So it was a channel stopper for them, and they were able to get them for cheap, right? So I talked about this earlier, and I want to really analyze this a little bit more with you guys. This is one of my favorite verticals in the world, vehicles. The guys and gals that, mostly guys that invest in like classic vehicles, you know, are just nuts for them. Hold on, let me see if I can get to a browser. But this was one of the better examples of that I've seen. What in the living hell? There we go. What? There we go, custom captain. So what a brilliant idea, right? So you've got a boat. If girls may not understand this as much as guys do, almost every guy in the world has had a dream of having a really cool boat someday. You know, having their own little fiefdom where they can go out on the water and be free and all those things. And what these guys did really smart, you send in a photo of your boat, they run it through AI, and it makes an image of the boat, and then they make wear for your boat. And what's crazy, I've got friends I got a buddy of mine who just bought a really nice boat. He just bought a $500,000 boat, and he's been dreaming about this thing for his whole life. I made a bunch of towels for him at our shop, embroidered towels, because he wanted to put towels on the boat. But he's already bought shirts and bought other stuff to give to people who come on the boat. So he's not just buying stuff for him. He's giving them to people, his guests that come on the boat. He's giving them a hoodie or a shirt or a towel or whatever. But look at these things. Like, they just take this, run it through. It's just a filter. This is super easy to do. And then they put it on gear. But look at the prices. The prices of stuff are just insane. By the way, they did a great job with all the social media testimonials. They did a terrific job. But if you look at their prices, like their common t-shirt, their dry fit t-shirt, which this t-shirt, by the way, cost about, printed for you, about $4, right? If you go the print on demand places, maybe 10, 12, maybe a little more. The dry fit shirts are pretty cheap. That's they're getting $35 and $39, $40. Here's a hood, a long sleeve t-shirt, $48. You couldn't possibly put anything on that stock and get that kind of price from Amazon. It's an impossibility. But for them, they own a boat, right? He's putting their boat name on the back of it. I mean, come on. It's such a brilliant idea. And these guys, you know, they got 3,500 5-star reviews. Well, that means roughly 10% of people ever leave a review. So that means they've made 35,000 sales so far. I don't know how long they've been doing this, and I'll bet you the average sale is close to $1,000 because nobody buys one. So this is a really great example. So how could you use an example like this? Well, I haven't found anything like this for RVs yet, or for bed and breakfast inns, or motorcycles, or classic cars. I'm sure there's probably one for classic cars. If there's not, somebody should be shot. Because if you could literally go set up at a Meacham auction or a Barrett Jackson auction, take a picture of a guy's car that he just bought, and probably sell him $1,000 worth of gear before he left the building. Because the guy just spent $200,000 buying his dream car of life. Is he going to want to denote that forever? Yeah. or you can probably find them online just in the classic car forums. And I promise you, if you put a classic car in one of these and show it in one of those forums, you're going to get orders that day. You will get that orders that day. So is this making sense to people? You guys getting it? All right, cool. I'm kind of belaboring this a little bit. I know that I am, but I want you to just be really clear on the possibilities here. So I love that. So how do you get oddball, right? Sub-niche, because we're down here in the pet, we talked about pets. How do you sub-niche pets? Well, that's pretty easy. Activism, it could be state, right? Families could be Hispanic families, Black families. You could, I've seen these videos now that, you're dating a Hispanic when, you're dating a Filipino when, right? And it has all these things that are, characteristic of that particular kind of person. Niching down in all the hobbies, like everybody now thinks they're going to go, I'm going to go, oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do stuff for pickleball people. Well, gosh, people got on that pretty quick because pickleball took off like a rocket. But there are all these other, like, they're actually televising cornhole games now. They're on TV. We have become that boring of a society that we'll watch people on TV throw a beanbag. But that's considered a sport now, right? And it comes with team shirts. One of the things that hobbies that are interesting, sports rather, I put down here, are interesting, are teams, right? One of my friends, I should put here too, clubs. Tam, that runs our business now, all he did for the last 5 years is print stuff for frats and sororities. Now you have to be careful with that because some of their Greek symbols put together are trademarked. But you can still sell them individually and you can sell slogans and you can do things like that. Same is true with sports teams. So like you can have an orange shirt that says Go Big 21 on it if your favorite player is player number 21 on the Tennessee Vols, right? But you can't have Tennessee Vols on there, right? Or you can have a shirt that says Wish I Was on Old Rocky Top because that's their theme song. You can do a lot of things around college teams, sports teams, without violating team laws. Okay. You can get, how do you get oddball? Like when you're in the hobbies and all that stuff, getting really oddball, like curling. I promise you stuff for curling would sell, especially somebody here's from Canada, right? You Canadians up there, you do that crap. They have curling arenas in Canada. I've been to one. I couldn't believe it. Does anybody know what curling is? Are y'all familiar with that sport? It's the sport of shoving a rock down a slab of ice and sweeping away the friction. It's the craziest thing ever. But those are the kinds of things where those people don't have a lot of, curling moms. I promise you, curling moms would buy shirts for their kids on the curling. But a lot of those, they have adult curling teams. You can go local, you can go state, causes, town, state pride. I'm going to show you a shirt. So remember I was telling you about the Texas cart, right? These guys ran these Texas, this whole Texas t-shirt thing in the mall. And they had like, 50, 60 shirts. And maybe, I think I had 30. Maybe it was 30. But this one shirt outsold all the other shirts like 20-1. And this was it. Texas, where farting is considered a competitive sport. Now, would that work if it said Louisiana? Hell yeah, it would work. Louisiana, Mississippi, any southern state, any southern town. You could run this ad that said Paducah, where farting is considered a competitive sport. You could run that ad to people from Paducah, Kentucky on Facebook, and I promise you sell shirts. So a lot of times you can find a design like this. The great thing of finding a design like this, if it works in Texas, it's going to work in Oklahoma. It's going to work in Mississippi. It's going to work in Kansas. It's going to work in Texas. It obviously worked in Texas, right? So you can take the same design and run over them. Mashups like careers and astrology. So, look at this. A Capricorn nurse is the best nurse, right? A wise man said. So that's mashing career with astrology. Kind of sounds crazy, but you can target based on astrological signs. I'm pretty sure on Facebook. I think you can. And you can certainly target by career. So when you niche down that tightly, you're going to be able to do some cool stuff. So now what you want to find out, though, is can you go broad with it? Is the design something that you can put on a lot of different things? Can you put on shirts, hats, mugs, jewelry, blankets, street art, wall art? Is it something people are proud enough of that they would like to stick it everywhere to show people who they are and what they're about? Because those are the things that are going to outsell everything else, right? Especially if Jim, what's so damn funny? Can we unmute Jim for a minute? He obviously something hit his tickle bone. Brittany? Hello? Brittany?
Perry,
I asked him to unmute.
Perry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
You put shits instead of shirts.
Did I?
Yeah.
Well, I never was perfect. Real close, but I'm not quite.
I found it funny. I was trying to figure out how you were going to print that,
Yeah. So, all right, cool, Jim. Thank you. So the point is, when you create one winning design, like the iPack design now, right? We've put that on mugs, we put it on hats, we're putting on jewelry now. That's not going to go well with blankets. We put it on street signs, on steel signs. It'll go pretty much everywhere once you've created one iconic thing. And once you've shown that you can sell it on a mug or a shirt or a hat, your next step is not to create the next design. It's to see how many other products you can apply that design to, just like Mickey Mouse, right? You go to Disney and Mickey Mouse on every effing thing, right? They want to be on as many products as they can put it on. And people who are into Mickey Mouse will buy as many products as have Mickey Mouse on it, right? Except for Ron DeSantis. Okay. Will It newsletter. To me, this is a huge deal. If I want to build a newsletter around every single swag item I sell, because if you've got a person who's willing to opt into a newsletter, that's one thing. But if they bought a t-shirt or a hat or a mug to identify themselves as a thing, that's a much, 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 much better prospect. That prospect is dyed in the wool, right? They're the ones who really, really are into that thing, right? So I want to make sure that I can put them on an e-letter so that when I bring out more swag, I can send it down the pipe to them, but I might also have other offers for them. Like, every one of my major media properties has been built around some sort of swag item being given away in the front. So like in the gardening space, I wet my plants t-shirt. They're going to get that t-shirt and they're going to get offered membership in the American Gardening Association, along with all the other stuff that comes with that, a big box of swag stuff and all the stuff that they get when they join it for $17 a month. So my average person stays 7 months. So I'm looking at another $100 and change dollars on the back of selling a $15 t-shirt. Does that make sense? So Will It newsletter. And now occasionally I'm running I found a webinar a guy's doing where he teaches people to grow microgreens in their basement, and it's $500. And we run that thing once a month, and I'll make, $5,000 or $10,000 every time I run that webinar to that list. So there's more money here on the back than you think, right? So niche selection, these are just criteria selection. So hot things for 2023 that you need to pay attention to. Start looking more at colors. The black t-shirt has ruled t-shirt business for 15 years. It's looking like, from all the trend lines coming out of the stores and retail right now, colors are going to be big this year. You're going to see a lot more neons and crazy colors. And they call it maximalism. So they've been doing minimalism, little bitty prints, little bitty things, subdued stuff. It looks like this year things are going to go kind of crazy. Anything to do with the election cycle always makes a lot of money. Always makes a lot of money. And you got a 2023 election year this year. Anything oversized. People are buying upsize right now that don't need upsize. A lot of girls especially are buying really oversized stuff. Anything Gothic, believe it or not, is coming back in 2023. It was never dead, but I can't believe it's coming back. So anyway, anything that has classical art on it. So classical art's all in the public domain, and you can do a great job with Midjourney with that. So you can say, you could take Van Gogh's Starry Nights and make mini skirts out of it, right? And those are going to sell. Mashup, like the Kung Fu Pug that I showed you guys the other day. Taking a market of people who like martial artists, who like martial arts, who also have a pug dog, and now they got a Kung Fu Pug, right? Those things will work. Anything that's university styled, Green University, the family that, Green University established, whatever, those have always really done well. Plus, there are licensing opportunities available for certain universities and certain high schools. You go to your local high school and get a license if you need one on the team. Sometimes you don't. Depends on the state you live in. But there's companies going around now licensing the IP of high schools, especially in the state of Texas. You're seeing companies come in and license high school mascots, pay the high school a flat fee, and then go sell that merchandise around town to support the high school. Anything that's unbranded around teams is going to do great. People are wanting less and less just something that says Patriots on it. They're wanting something cooler. One of the things that we're seeing that's really neat right now are people buying blankets for football games, but that they can hold up as signs to attract the attention of the cameras as they're passing through. Tie-dye is going to be big again this year, according to all the trends. And we can get tie-dye blanks, so we can print over the top of tie-dye. Florals are big. So basically, it looks like the 2023 trends are going to be real colorful, real big, real over the top, right? And holidays this year, I think that, blankets are going to be huge. Jewelry is going to be huge. It always is at holidays. And there's so much margin in jewelry for you guys, and metals. So this is something we did last year. It's called shadow birds. These are really cool. They're just little steel silhouettes that you hammer into a tree, and it could be of anything. So we just sold these to the NFL for all of the NFL teams. So their helmets, it's a license deal. We did it for someone who had the license. But you can see here, these are pretty cool looking things. And they sell great, and the margin's really good. These sell for like $20 to $25 and each, and they cost you $5 to $7. So you guys can make great money on these and get creative with it. It might be something for your local market. It could be, we did garden gnomes on a tree, pretty cool stuff. Any kind of wall art. The wall art space is really big right now. Like I said earlier, $58 billion in the United States alone. There's a big market for wall art. And then again, mashups. So like, I'll show you in a second, a research tool that we're using, but like Father's Day shirts for us, we want Father's Day shirts for gun owners, right? So you can mash these things up and you get really niched, right? And then finally creating your brand, right? I wouldn't do this in a niche unless I was going to create some sort of a brand to go with it from the very beginning. And you can put a little transfer at the bottom of your shirt, or you can put something in the back neck of the shirt that identifies it as your brand, or put a extra little patch on a hat, what have you. But what feeling are you trying to portray? And one of the things that I would really try to stress to you is something called badge value. Right? What are people proud of? What are they going to wear around like a badge of honor to show people? Like IPAC says, I'm a gun owner. I'm proud. I'm a proud gun owner, and I want to meet other gun owners. Right? That's what that says. It has badge value. So what has badge value? What are they proud of? What can your brand portray a feeling of, like a proud patriot or 1776 society or spiritual gangster was a great one, right? And then we've got fonts and colors and a mascot. And I've got some stuff down here for you. I've got this out of place. I need to move that down to help you design your brand. And creating a mascot. There's a prompt here for Midjourney that will create a mascot for you. All you do is take this, move it into Midjourney. I did it this morning with a cardinal, and you can kind of see, you just change up, you drop this, oh crap. Stupid Imagine, I hate that thing. What is going on? Well, it's giving me a hard time today. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. There it is. So when you drop this prompt in, let's say that you were doing something that had to do with hockey. So you wanted an angry penguin. I think that's where you spelled screaming, angry screaming. An angry screaming penguin with a backwards hat on, right? So it's going to give us that. And then you can work your logo into there any way you want. And you can see, like here, I did this was a panther, a blue panther, I think, that we did. So we were working up these different mascots. And it says sports team. It doesn't have to be for a sports team, but it's going to give you something like that. These are a really good place to start if you don't have another idea for a logo. You can certainly have a logo that has no mascot, but this is usually a great way to start. We'll see what that produces in a second. It's running a little slow today for some reason. Still waiting to start. Servers must be pretty busy. What was that out? I do have a bunch of other stuff to show you guys, though. Wish this would come on in. I'm not waiting more on that. I don't want to hold you up. Yeah. So, yeah, you can look at even a store like Lunified. They just came up. They've got an interesting store model. Where they've kind of created a brand. Now they're following something really cool. So they're doing mostly mystic, more mystical stuff. Wear your attitude on your sleeve. What a great tagline. And you can see they're doing a lot of all over print stuff, but it's all mystic, tribal sort of stuff. But one of the things that's real interesting in what they do, you can see this is a $60 shirt, right? But they're probably only going to make 500 of that shirt, and then they're going to retire that design. And that really does work. It really, really does work. And this is all over print stuff. We can do this now for you. It's a little bit challenging, but we're doing it. We're not great at it yet, but we're doing it. And they got this whole martial arts thing going on. Really cool little shop. And look at this, 7,500 5-star reviews, 100,000 happy customers. And look at these prices. They're insane. The margin's huge. But that's what happens if you find a niche of people that you really identify with and they like you. Let me see. I want to talk for a minute about trademarks, copyrights. USPTO.gov. You can't use, obviously, I mean, some of you guys are, it's not obvious to everybody, but you can't use Mickey Mouse and you can't use Ren and Stimpy and you can't use any other cartoon characters that have been trademarked or copywritten. You can go to USPTO.gov and look up things to see if there's a copyright on them and do a cursory thing there. But generally, if you're going to know, for the most part, if you can use a thing or not. But some things that are newer, you might want to run through USPTO and see if they have a trademark. And a lot of times people they'll show trademark emblems when they don't have a trademark. It's very common. So a note, don't shotgun. Don't shotgun. Don't go out there and just create a bunch of crap. There are 200,000 dog shirts on Etsy right now. You're going to get lost if you go out there and create something that's not unique and not different. I want to show you a couple of really cool tools that I've been using lately. I like a lot. Let me see. A couple of them are free and one of them is paid. This one's the SEO Stack keyword tool. So I found this shirt in Etsy, was Chicken Daddy. And this is getting pretty popular. There's a lot of people selling different Chicken Daddy designs right now, shirts and mugs for homesteading dudes that are dads to chickens. And I guess it's Father's Day right now. So Chicken Daddy is the thing. So you can see here that these Chicken Daddy shirts are pretty doggone popular. And they're getting $24 on that shirt in Etsy. And I can analyze that listing. I'm not signed in right now. I use this little tool. I don't even want to tell you what it is right now because I don't want you guys to get ahead of yourself. But I use a little tool to analyze bestsellers in Etsy. I'll share that with you as we get an Etsy platform. But if you go here, you can enter and see how many people are looking up Chicken Daddy, or even chicken for that matter. But Chicken Daddy shirts, calendars, shirts, mugs, hats, signs, stickers. It just should show you how crazy this gets. Once you get a design out there that's kind of popular, I just wonder, I haven't tried this yet, so I might not show much. Just wonder how much iPack shows. Forgot I got to redo this every time. And you can go down here and check Amazon, right? iPack luggage, iPack suitcase. I guess iPack a bumper sticker. People want a sticker to put on their car to say I have a gun. It's just crazy to me. But that's the way people think. So this SEO Stack is a free tool. You get it as a Chrome extension. So one of the things that's cool here is to go I love, right? And it's going to show you. I don't like the fact that you have to, every time you do one of these, you have to start over again, but it's free, so I can't really bitch about it. I love you box. I love you earbuds. I love you blanket. A lot of blankets popping up right now. I love you balloons. I love you cat food. So one of the things that's kind of cool, you can clear here. There we go. I love beer, right? So I love beer shirt. I love beer and titties hat. I love beer dart fights. I love beer stickers. I love beer trucker hats. And you can do I love beer and I love beer and tacos, right? So you can kind of see what the markets are on these things. I misdid that anyway. Yeah. I love craft beer shirts. All these are kind of weird little ideas that you wouldn't think would be something people are into. I love cigars. I love cigars sticker. I love cigars shirt. So you can see there are people out there searching this stuff. There are people that are looking for it. And when you see that in the market, you got something. The chicken day, I'm always looking at Etsy to see what's popular on Etsy at a given day, what comes up on the main sheet. But I found a tool that I'm really loving right now called Podly. And Podly shows you what's really selling right now on Amazon. And this is a paid tool. It's $25 a month or $99 a year. If you guys don't want to buy it right now, just send me, I'll give access to Brittany. And if you guys really want something ran or a search ran, we'll run it for you. But you can see like today, it's pretty interesting. Today is, mostly Father's Day stuff. And you can see this shirt, this is pretty interesting, has a BSR of 61,000. Normally that has a BSR, 30-day BSR of 61,000. So what does that mean? Well, the BSRs went down to 4,000. And Brian Williams knows exactly what that means. So at 61,000, so basically at a BSR of 300,000, you're probably selling a shirt a day, a shirt every other day, or an item every other day. At a BSR of 61,000, you're probably selling 5, 6, 7 a day. And a BSR of 4,000, that means that's the 4,000th most popular item on Amazon right now. So that shirt's probably selling. It's got 24 reviews. It's #1 in women's novelty t-shirts. It's probably selling, what would you guess, Brian, at a BSR of 4,000? 30 to 40, 50 shirts a day, probably right now. Be my guess. Can you unmute Brian, please? I know it's not exact science.
Yeah, it's probably 40 to 50 a day.
40 to 50 of that particular shirt a day, right?
Yeah.
So would that shirt sell off of Amazon? Yes. Right. So I'm going to send this out tomorrow to my survival preparedness gun list, right? Because they're all fathers. A lot of them are fathers. So, but this little tool, this little Podly tool, I think is a really cool tool. I don't know if you've seen this before, Brian, or not, but it's a really cool tool. And it really just is for merch. But if you'll notice here, like I've already got my winner probably as husband, daddy, protector, hero, right? Because my guys are going to like that. They like flag related stuff. I like this one too. It's not, I see 2 designs with the same thing in the top 10. It's not a dad bod, it's a father figure, right? But you're also seeing like gay pride stuff in here, Juneteenth stuff working in here right now. So you're seeing these trends form. But we can go here and say a term. So let's say that you're into gardening. Okay, so here's the most popular stuff in gardening. Now you notice the numbers are lower, but the garden father, that's pretty cool. So there's for gardening dads. When you see that BSR number go down, the BSR number is lower than the BSR 30 number. That means that the sales in that item are trending upward. Okay, that's what that means. I just wet my pants. Garden gangster. I'll be in my office. So you got a lot of good ideas here to start with of stuff that, when you go to these, you can see that there's 47 ratings here. And by and large, and Brian knows this way better than me on Amazon, but by and large, somewhere between 5 and 10% leave a review. I think that's being pretty generous, isn't it, Brian? is 5 to 10% generous on the review number? Can we unmute Brian again, please? I want to make these to where you can unmute yourself because I want you guys to be able to be interactive.
Yeah, your 10% is pretty generous. If you don't do an active review request campaign, which we can talk about maybe on a different call, you're probably getting more like 3 to 5% of people leaving a review.
So that means this person's probably sold at least 500 of this shirt, probably closer to 1,000 of this shirt, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if we can tell from the listing when it was originally listed or not, but
there's another tool that can show you like very granular data on exactly what this thing has been doing.
Yeah, like Jungle Scout or something like that. Or
Helium 10 is what I prefer.
Yeah, I've got Helium 10. I just didn't want to show them Helium 10 because it's so damn expensive for what they're doing.
It is.
Yeah. So we've got some more advanced tools, but this little merch tool is a really good tool to get you some great ideas that then you take off of Amazon. They're kind of doing some of your pre-testing for you, right? Or you can take one of these designs that's working really well. Like if you go back here and look at, let's do, and notice these are pretty stylized designs and they're kind of going along the lines of what I was talking about. They're a little more colorful. The minimalist designs aren't doing as well. But if you find something, law enforcement, I love that law enforcement officer. That was pretty good. But if you find some of these that the design's not great, but the message is good, that's your opportunity to go make a better design, right? I don't know if it's going to show me much about guns or not. This is not a gun. It's a high-speed wireless communication device, right? That's the kind of crap my people think is really, really funny, just for what it's worth. But then you've got, these guys are really pushing the envelope with a LGBTQ shirt. That's liquor, liberty, guns, beer, Trump, and barbecue, whatever. But I'm telling you, these guys buy this stuff. They're in the, I told you guys earlier, you want to be doing something that stirs an emotion. And in the conservative space, I can tell you by and large, the emotion they want to stir is pissing somebody off. That's kind of their job, right? So let's go back to the doc and we'll close this out. But there's another tool I do want to show you guys. If you're doing artwork after you get your Midjourney design and you want to put something around it. I think I just closed them all out. Did I really? I did, but it's called Photopea. If you guys don't have Photoshop right now and you don't want to buy it because you're not really into graphics, this thing called Photopea is pretty cool, man. It's basically an alternative to Photoshop that's all online and it's free. So you can do all your designs in here. You just drag in your Midjourney design and you can start putting words around it and all that. But I'll show you that later when we get into design. Podly. Okay, I think that's it. So, these were out of line. So when you're designing your brand, right, here's a guideline for the kind of fonts and what they mean emotionally and the colors and what they mean emotionally. Just the last thing I'd say to you guys before I go to questions, I'm going to give you your homework is, let me cut these real quick. I got to move this around. Is, set reasonable expectations for yourself. I think one of the things people do in this business is I went out there and I didn't make $1,000 in my first week. So I'm pissed. I don't want to do this anymore. It's going to take you a while to find your winners. That's just true with anything that has to do with marketplace selling. So, be reasonable. My first goal for you guys is get to one sale a day. Get to where you're selling one of something every single day. And then we'll move toward the $1,000 a day goal, which is what I really want. I want 1,000 people to do $1,000 a day. That's the goal with this. SEO Stack is that free Chrome extension. Podly.co is that paid thing. And then Photopea is the tool that's like Photoshop. So here's your homework. Before next Thursday, select your niche, your first niche. Don't come and say, well, I got 9. Let's do one and get one really right, right? try to inject your personality into it as much as possible. I just registered a new brand that the guys were laughing at me about, but we're doing a sports brand, and I call it Sports Dick because it's a sports detective. It's like all the things that are going on, who's trading who, what are all the rumors and all that. But you're not going to forget Sports Dick, and Sports Dick's going to have a cartoon icon that's like a brim-hatted, old school detective, in a sports type font. So inject your personality in it, create a mascot, and then create your brand. Create that first brand. And if it's not exactly perfect, that's okay. At least you'll have a brand. Having a brand is better than not having a brand. Even if the brand's not that great, you'll have one. You can always change it, update it, make it better, send it out to an artist and have it refined once you're making more money. If you'll notice, almost every major brand in the world, every so many years, revamps the brand, with the exception of maybe Coca-Cola. And they do different, do brand new brand work. So that's the homework before next week, when we're going to be going into design and making the very best designs that you can. Okay. Brittany, can we just unmute everybody? And will you guys be responsible enough to mute yourselves if there's a bunch of noise in your background? That way people can freely ask questions and it doesn't slow down the flow in the process.
I got that taken care of the first time you mentioned it. Everybody can unmute whenever they have a question.
Okay. So who's got a question? Who's got thoughts, feelings, emotions about the day? Any of that? Who's not clear on something?
I have a question, Perry.
Okay, go. I can't see who that is, but that's okay.
It's Amy. The mid-journey stuff, should we be already starting to play around with that, or are you gonna teach more on that, how to set it up and everything?
You can certainly play around with it. I'd like for you guys to go watch it. I'll send you guys a YouTube video on how to set it up today, from somebody else. It won't be from me because it's so simple. But get Discord, and then go over and sign up for a Midjourney account, and it'll say add us to Discord, and I'll show you how to do it.
And we get the paid version, because I think I did that, but then I don't think I can save anything.
It's up to you. So if you get the paid version, you can save it without the paid version, but if you get the paid version, you can't use that art legally for commercial purpose unless you have the paid version.
Oh, okay, got it.
That's part of the license. If you're making art in Midjourney and you don't have a paid account with them, you don't have the legal rights to use that in commerce and sell the art that you created. Okay. So yeah, that sells that. And yeah, you can play with it, but I would rather you get your homework done first.
Okay.
It's like your kids, Jamie. Do your homework first, then you can play.
Then you can play.
All right. Anybody else? Yeah.
Yeah, it's Dr. Jim. So listen, can you that expert gardener? If you stop sharing your screen, it'll let us see everybody better. But
okay. Let me show you something on that real quick. You'll like probably. Hold on. This gives you an idea when I create a brand. Let me show you this real quick, and then I will stop sharing the screen. So this is garden season. I asked ChatGPT to give me 6 colors in a palette. Just give me the hex codes to create the colors of a good garden site, and that's what it gave me. I fed it all my competitors. It created my navigation silo for me, everything. And then the top 50 keywords used on my competitor sites, the writer's profile that I created over in ChatGPT. And then I had it create an image in Midjourney of my gardening expert, right? And her byline and all of her stuff, a sample article, how we create. This is a training document that I gave to all of my, to my team for how to create that. I'll share that with you guys right now if you want it. I assume you guys might.
actually, I think that answered my question, because I was going to ask you to share your expert, that prompt you used just as a sample. So if you share this document, I think it's on there. So
Yeah,
that'll take care of it. But
that with you. I'll close that out and I will stop sharing and go to, yeah, that's much better. And I'll put this in the chat. And Brittany, are there questions in the chat that I missed that I didn't catch in the chat that somebody might have had?
And by the way, Perry, I just wanted to make one other comment. If nobody's seen it, your American Gun Association, those badges, you know, like patches that the people can earn.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know how I would, you know, there's really not courses that I can think of at this time for like cigar smokers, but like all the courses you guys have. And then they
that's basically, you know what that's a model of, by the way? It's a model of the Boy Scouts.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So they can ascend in rank over time and things like that.
Right.
Challenge coins and patches and things that they can earn.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Who else got a question?
Not so much a question, but to introduce myself, my name is John Dominguez. I have the Sam Cart shirt on.
Yeah, I see you.
Yeah. So I met you at one of your last events, and I'm actually here for my wife, who is Molly Mahoney.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So I just wanted to let you know. I don't even know if your team knows that I was here. She just asked me to come on today.
You actually get to you actually get to get a word in here.
I do?
Which is, yeah, you got to say something here. I bet living with Molly, you don't get to say a lot. You probably it's hard to get a word in sideways. It's like living with me, right?
I'm learning a lot through osmosis.
Yeah, I love that girl. I'm joking. I love it.
I get all the free t-shirts.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I love her to death. She's a great girl. You must be a happy couple because she seems so happy all the time.
Yeah. All right. I just didn't know if you knew I was here.
My pleasure.
Okay.
Anybody else? Last call for alcohol. Thoughts, feelings, emotions. We've been on an hour and a half. That's about how long these will probably go.
Oh, someone asked the question earlier in the chat about
how do you submit orders?
Yeah, turnaround time for your.
Yeah, it depends on what it is, but I think he's got the price list done for you guys. I'm supposed to review it today, and I'll send it over to you. And normally, once you're doing a setup, your setup might take a couple of days, but once you've got the setup in and he's got the file in and refined, typically speaking, in today, out tomorrow. So if an order comes in today, it goes out to your customer the next day. And now holidays can affect that, sometimes slow it down a little bit. And, sometimes we're out of supply on things. So we're still, it's not a huge enterprise right now. So, but that's kind of why you get such a great deal on everything, right? So, that's our turnaround time. Now, the other platforms, are actually getting really good about turnaround. All of them are. I'm becoming a pretty good fan of Printify in the US. It's actually decent, but we're going to do a review of all those for you guys week 3. So next week will be art creation. Week 3 will be listing and platform, how you're going to put your art, get your products out there, get it on the products, get it up for sale for the testing phase. And then the following week, we'll do the scale phase. And then that last week, that 5th, that bonus section, I'll show you kind of how to build membership businesses based on the back of that. Membership businesses and associations in that 5th week bonus phase.
So Perry, this is Samantha. That was my question. So just in the whole process, because I'm definitely interested from the membership level. So just to have that idea planted in my head, what do we tell our members? Like, what should we tell them to expect? Whatever we're sending them in, like what time frame, as an example?
You're talking about turnaround time on production?
No, like, okay, say for example, if we're telling our members or our customer, whatever item they're getting, what's a good, like, remember back in the day, you say 6 to 8 weeks delivery or 8 to 10 weeks.
Oh,
delivery.
no. It's really fast now. It's really fast on this stuff. Usually 7 to 10 days anywhere in the United States. And that's overreach. It's usually 2 to 3.
Really? Okay. All right. Thanks.
Stephen, you got your hand up?
Yes, sir. Well, one thing I was going to share for the lady who asked about the free versus the paid on Midjourney, I was just going to share that I signed up. I was trying to get back in about 10 days ago after you gave that big training on the Friday.
Yeah.
That was genius, by the way. I love that training. but I was trying to get in there and play with some of that, and I couldn't get a free trial to work anymore. It kept giving me a message. It said, "We're too busy for free trials. Try again."
Not big.
And
Yeah.
after a couple of different times, I finally said, "Give it $10." And
Well, you got to have it
well
anyway.
worth the money.
If you're going to sell the designs legally, you have to have it anyway.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
after paying $10, that was about 10 days ago. And after the $10, I'm pretty sure I'll go to the $30 level.
Yeah, I
next
think I'm on the
renewal.
$30 one now, and I've never hit a limit on it yet.
Yeah.
Because I think you get at $30, you get $10. What gives you 200 images or something? $30 gives you.
Yeah, I got I
5,000 or
think
something.
224 minutes when it first gave. So it gave me a little bonus, but
Yeah,
I
one of
just-
the things to do is don't use the fast minutes. Go in and turn it
that's
off.
not an option with the $10 plan. You have to go to the $30 plan to go to the relaxed mode.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because it's cheaper to do them on relax than it is on fast.
I know, but they don't allow you to, like, when I go into the settings and I click on the relax mode, it just says you ain't doing that.
Aren't you just blown away at how good an artist you can be in this stuff? It's nuts.
I tell you
right?
what, I have no ability to draw a straight line, much less a circle. And yes, I am a freaking Picasso.
Right. It's amazing what you can do in there. And
I mean, my brother had all the art skills, but I tell you what, I'm gonna say, look at this.
all right, guys. Any other questions, thoughts,
My
feelings?
my question was,
Oh, sorry.
will you be sharing with the stuff that Chad was showing us, how he's putting together that box? I'm gonna be interested in getting
Yeah.
that association. When
Yeah, we'll do
comes
that in the last. We'll do that in that last session.
Okay.
Because we're really getting our product down. Brian worked with me for a while at AGA and FPA, and honestly, our product wasn't very good then, and the product now is getting excellent. The product's really getting top notch.
Well,
So
I tell you, I spent about 5 years in the promotional products industry, and I went to trainings. I was in PPAI in Vegas there for 5 years in a row, and I'm just blown away by what you offered us. And I tell you,
we need to turn them on to that too. By the way, that's another form of print on demand is PPIA. It's advertising specialties. You can take your designs and put them on people's products in a little bigger quantities and really come out pretty good as a PPI member.
well, the PPAI is really a lot more than that. There's two main arms of it. There's ASI, which is a competitive. It's a pay for thing.
We're in both. Yeah.
And PPAI PPAI is right here in Irving. I live in Fort Worth, or just south of Fort Worth, but so I know exactly where PPAI is. But I've been to that Vegas show several times, and I may rejoin them once I get back into this, because I'd let it go a few years ago, because mainly SAG just kept chasing me. They wanted me to do a online catalog, and I was like, I don't see any value in an online catalog. That's not how I want to go to the market. Anyway, but I would tell, I don't know if you're willing to share that video that you did, like the Friday, I guess it's getting to be 2 or 3 Fridays ago. But if somebody hasn't seen that helps a lot, because the first thing you did was show us how to sit there and set up our own little server, and then how to share that.
Yeah, I'll share that.
I'll share that. Since then, it really helped me a lot. But you spent 2 hours just out of the blue, and I figured I thought you were going to sell something. Well, you did kind of. Then you offered the AI seminar coming up in
we were just putting out some content, and people liked it so much that I decided to do something. Chad was like, we should offer this to people because a lot of people are interested in it. So we were just kind of feeling the waters a bit.
Yeah, well, I'm really glad to be here, and I appreciate all you're doing.
Oh, thank you, Stephen. Hey, Brittany Brittany's going to send you guys a link out today by email to the 2 recordings from Zoom so far. They're still working to put this into a members area for you guys. And that'll probably be up there by next week. But right now she's just going to send out the Zoom recordings from the last little bit. And you'll have those probably later today, links to those later today. And so you guys can go back and research it and look back through them, or if you missed a call or whatever. So, all right, guys. Well, I think we'll wrap her up for today. Sounds like everybody had a pretty good call. And
well, we have a few hands though.
oh, there's still hands up? I'm sorry, I didn't see those. I can't see everybody. I'm so sorry. Brittany, are there still hands up?
Yeah, I
up?
was just about to say that. Deuce, Michelle, Larissa, and Jess.
Oh, yeah,
are-
yeah. I'm so sorry, guys. I can only see a handful of people on the screen. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Perry, a couple of questions. I had a website that I bought years ago that I thought would really work. It's called Hogs of Sturgis. Have you ever done something where it's a large event and it's not even in your area? Because I'm in New England, but I thought it would really work well. Do you think something like this would work for that?
Yeah, you know what's weird? I bought SturgisT-shirts.com years ago. I think I still might have it. It might have expired. Yeah, Sturgis is pretty cool. I don't know how many people will buy Sturgis stuff online, but if you could figure out who's there, and geofence the event or something like that, probably will work pretty well.
Well,
a lot of people aspire to go to Sturgis that never go. You know,
Right. Well, there's about 250,000 to 500,000 people every year.
yeah,
And I've been doing some research because I also put together a site that brings up all the local hotels, motels. So if somebody's looking for that stuff, it would come up. And I figured I could marry the two together.
yeah, it's a great way to get a lead from somebody. You know, I'm going to Sturgis. Like, just you could almost have "fuck you, I'm going to Sturgis" on the front of it for the guy. Those kind of guys, they would wear that shirt.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think that most of them are probably carrying your membership.
Or Sturgis Roadmap, Sturgis Road Trip 2020. You know, you do a poker run to Sturgis or road trip shirt. A lot of those guys would probably buy that are setting out on the journey.
Well, I had another idea to go with that because, as you know, almost every state has a major motorcycle event.
Sure.
So if you were to put this together, you could literally pick 12 of them and follow them from one to the other.
Yeah, Daytona Bike
Well,
Week
see-
and all that. Yeah,
Yeah. So anyways, it was an idea. I figured I'd ask.
yeah, that'd be cool. I think you could go and take. I'm really wanting to do this. I don't know if I'll ever find the time or not, but you could do that at Daytona. It'd be great if you set up a green screen, like a portable green screen, and have the guys ride their bikes up and take their photo, and then order merch. I think you destroy it.
Yeah.
I think doing stock merchandise is one thing, but I think if you could do custom, I want to do that at Barrett Jackson car auctions because there's no way that you don't do just stupid money.
Well, the other thing is I had a much bigger marketing plan where you brought in a magazine and let it go there about a week or two before they actually get there. So they're picking it up as they come in, and you have the advertisers on it. And then you marry that to a website, but never got a chance to put it.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Let's sell them some shirts first. All
Yeah,
right.
well, that's what I'm saying. That would be a perfect way to do it, right?
Perfect. Yeah, I think I got Michelle up next in the list.
Good
Yeah.
morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for all this information.
Because I got Michelle and then Larissa and then Jess and then Leanne. Ron, I got a bunch of you guys. Okay, go ahead.
Good morning. Thank
Hey.
you for everything. I'm a fine artist in Laguna Beach, and so I was tickled to learn about the print on demand portion of it and a little horrified about this AI portion.
Right? I bet.
It's really got my wheels turning. And I'm really interested in maybe if you could talk to me a little bit more. I have a mini series that I do, but one is a women's empowerment series that I do. And I got a little bit, how do I turn that just into, you were saying you want a newsletter so you could keep selling these people things. Like, just if I dialed down on one of my series, and that one is one I'm really impassioned about right now. Could you talk to me a little bit more about what I should be thinking about when I'm doing this niche?
If you're doing fine art stuff, you know, you're going to have an advantage even when it comes to AI art because you're going to understand how to prompt the AI better than the average bear is, right? Because AI is just another paintbrush. It's just another tool. It's like having a pen, a pencil, a marker, or whatever. It's like a souped up version of Photoshop. And, you know, because I can open Photoshop doesn't make me a Photoshop artist, right?
Right.
But as far as your series goes, your series of art goes, I mean, you follow the traditional model that anybody follows in licensing, I think. And, but you can just do it now without having to make the big print run investment that you used to have to make. It's quite easy. If your people buy your prints, or, it's a great way to get your art. It doesn't diminish the sale of your original art. I can tell you that. If you look at artists like, I hate to use the word artists and Thomas Kincaid in the same sentence, but if you look at artists like Thomas Kincaid, right, he licensed those images to put on everything under the sun, from greeting cards to, from greeting cards to coffee mugs to mouse pads, right?
Right.
And it didn't diminish the cost of the popularity of his original art. In fact, it skyrocketed it.
Right.
So you're going to find that the more licensing you do, and there's opportunity too. I'll talk to in as we scale up about doing wholesale trade shows where you're going to sell maybe your line of licensed art products into gift shops and retail, because there are people that will buy them, and the more identified your art is and the more popular it is, you can release it out to your people. There's a really interesting artist I'll tell you a story about named Christopher Radliff. I don't know if you ever heard him or not, but he does something really interesting. He sells collectible big glass globe Christmas ornaments. And every year he sends one to the White House for the White House Christmas tree. And nobody knows if they ever actually put one on the damn Christmas tree or not.
Oh.
But he says, designed for the 2023 White House Christmas tree, specifically by Christopher Radliff for the, and women buy these for, not all women, but they're $100. They're $100 an ornament. And he'll sell 50 to 70,000 ornaments a Christmas season, because that's the one designed for the White House Christmas tree. So there's a lot of, the problem with fine artists, you will probably be the worst student in this whole group.
Oh,
because fine artists get stuck in I love you. I just mean that in a bad way. But fine artists get stuck in well, I don't know if that's if I feel good about that or not, but the artists like the Goddard, the guy that sells all the art on cruise ships, he's my neighbor here. He lives down the street in a $7 million house. And he's the most hated artist in the world. He sells like art of dancing olives on cruise ships. Right?
I know. I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
But he's but you know what? He's an amazing promoter.
Absolutely.
He's a terrific promoter. And one of the things that I'll tell you a way to get your art. Do you sell a lot locally, Michelle?
Yes.
So a great opportunity for you would be to print some of your art digitally and do a gleeky on it and donate it to charity auctions around your city. Because some people just want a big piece of art.
Right.
They don't even care if it's good. They just care that it's big. Seriously. Right. You think I'm kidding? I'm not kidding at all. We were down, I told this story 2 or 3 times, that Chad's got all the literature on it. But one of our guys that I know him, he's an old marketing guy, surprisingly, out of my country club now. That's the champions of tennis or something like that. He's taken AI and running all these images of, Venus Williams and John McEnroe and all these guys, and doing these big, like 5 foot by 4 foot gleeky art pieces and selling them at my country club for $10,000.
Wow.
It's just insanity. But you know what he does, though? He donates them around town to all the charity auctions and stuff like that. And he's gotten popular. He donates, he takes a piece of art that cost him $100 and donates it to an auction. And it brings, people get drunk and bid at auctions. And wow, look, this piece of art sold at auction for $4,000. Don't you want one?
Right.
Pretty smart.
Yeah.
But it's stuff most artists see as cheesy and they don't want to do.
Well, I'm at the point where I'm okay with cheesy. I have a son who has special needs, and that's one of the things I'm interested in teaching him how to do the actual physical part. So I want to create a little business for him that he could do mugs and whatever else the things that you're sending us to do
That's
things.
cool. That's cool.
And so he's getting older now, and I'm like, I got to get a big nest egg for him.
It's time, right?
You know, right? So
Don't want to be that starving artist anymore. Gotta be
right.
the
So
artist.
okay, thank
All
you.
right, cool. Thanks so much. Larissa, I think you're next up on the list if my list is right.
All right. Hi, Perry. I see that most of the people here are your students, and I was your student and successfully made money doing social media when you taught it.
Oh my
in
gosh.
2009, and then video. And after that, I've been literally under the rock with family, away from all the internet marketing. Like my Twitter closed my account when I had like 33,000 followers, etc. But I was your follower. I don't have any doubts in the fact that your system works. It worked for me twice already, like in the video production and in the social media. But I have been literally living under the rock for the last 10 years, and marriage, family, etc., etc. So I am kind of so outdated in everything. So basically my confidence is kind of vaporized, and I'm a little bit overwhelmed with a lot of things. But I was just trying to prepare to do the homework, jotting what is my hobby, what is my interest. And so let's say a hobby, what I'm overwhelmed with, I don't have a system to plug anything in. I don't have a group. I don't have a page.
You don't really need anything, because what you're going to do in the first round of the testing phase of this, you're going to be placing your designs in platforms that do all that for you.
Okay.
They even do the mock-ups for you. They do the listings for you. They process the sales for you. They do all that for you. So that's phase one. So you get to go through that and kind of get through all those little hiccups.
Okay. So
I don't think you'll have a big problem with it.
That is a little bit a relief. But let's play. If I have an obscure hobby like felting, which that's my hobby, my personal hobby, which it fits the description of an obscure thing.
Are there felting groups on Facebook?
I'm sure there are.
I'm sure if there's a felting group with at least 5,000 people in it somewhere.
Yeah. So 5,000 people.
Then you have a reasonable niche.
Okay. International groups are fine too, I suppose, then.
Yeah, fine. In fact, maybe even better in some cases.
Okay.
Because the traffic costs and things to scale are usually less. International.
All right. And also grandparents, for example, is another kind of, is it considered to be a niche, or because they have so many other?
No, it absolutely is. And especially, you can do grandparents for their own stuff, or you can do grandparents for children's stuff, like grandma's little whatever, and there's a bunch of those. You can.
And so that could be little books, coloring books, club of the month color, something together with grandmother, or something like along those lines.
Yeah.
Or games. I don't know. I'm just thinking my own interest, because I don't know anything else.
Well, let's just get the niche down first, and then figure out what you want to sell them later. You got to do this stuff in a linear process. Okay. Everybody kind of gets out there. They want to jump the broom, right? I think if you can go through the process of figuring out the one niche you really want to try to target first. And I like the felting niche, believe it or not, because I bet there's no competition in it, And the idea is, I'd rather you sell some than sell none. I'd rather you sell some in a small market than sell none in a big market. Because now you're going to at least get a sale. You're going to go, oh, wow, I can do this. Your confidence level goes up, and you start going, one of the things I didn't talk about, I wanted to, was this pyramid, right? So let's say that you're down here in felting, right? And you like felting, and that's a little real weird, obscure little sub niche of crafting, right? So what else do people do that felt? Well, they may do lacing, or they may do quilting, or they may do crochet, or they may do, there are probably other associated areas. So probably soft fabric crafts, right? So you might fill in all those little sub niches of soft fabric crafts. And then, you've got a whole list of people that like fabric crafts. Now, once you fill that pyramid up, the top of the pyramid is crafts, right? But
Mhm.
as you fill it up small down in the bottom, you can kind of move up to the top as you build your audience.
Textile
Interesting.
art, basically, that would be.
Interestingly enough, I'm always fascinated with the Sam Walton Walmart story. That Sam Walton only built Walmart stores in cities of less than 10,000 people at first, where he knew he could dominate the market. He went in and built a big box discount store in a tiny little market, and everybody thought he was crazy. But he killed all the other businesses in town, which wasn't so nice, but he achieved market domination. And he would go out 100 miles from a big city and start building in these little towns. And after he filled all those in, then he went into 50 miles to the city and built another round. And he went 20 miles to the city. They built another round. And it was 20 years before Walmart built one store in a metro market. 20 years before they were in a major metro market. Because he just choked off all the stuff that was really easy to attack, the low competition stuff. SEO works the same way. Low competition keywords are how SEO works. This is the same kind of business. You're going to build your authority and your audience up with all these low competition little niches, and eventually you're building to a bigger market sector. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. And so fulfillment at this point is not my big concern as well as
Shouldn't be yet. You don't even know what you're going to sell. You don't even know who you're selling to yet, right? So everybody's like, "What about the fulfillment?" Just, damn it, you're killing me,
well,
right?
because,
So
yeah,
here's what you need.
do.
You need somebody. You need something to sell, and somebody to sell it to, right? Those two things need to get knocked out first, and then everything else will kind of fall into place.
Okay,
Okay.
super. I'll stay focused on the homework
All
then. And when we do the homework, should we follow what I imagined? I would just go do the research that you showed us,
Yeah,
as
and
far as how
I'm going
many
to call
of
on you
this.
guys to show some of your examples next week. So I want to see some of the stuff. And if
Super.
you want to show, this is a great use, by the way, of the Voxer channel.
Mhm.
As you guys come up with your brands and stuff, put them in there and ask people their opinion, see what they think.
Okay.
Okay.
Super. Thanks.
All right. I got Jess up next. I think, unless I've already talked to Jess. Have I talked to Jess?
Hey, Perry. Not yet, but you're about to get the pleasure. So just a couple quick questions. One on the wall art. I'm curious if there's any trend indication on kind of whether people are kind of going in for wall art that's sort of more like t-shirts, or it's like kind of more picture only. Are we getting a sense of
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, there's a lot, right? A lot of people are doing word art, but that seems to be cheap stuff that you buy at lesser expensive places. But Etsy sells a lot of word art. They sell a lot of word art. But what seems to be the hottest trend right now, frankly, in wall art, in my opinion, is reverse acrylic art. I showed that. It's basically where we print on the backside of plexiglass. And then, of course, canvas is still super popular, but the plexiglass art is really hot because it's a lot of people have their own images they're creating, and it even makes bad images look good, frankly. And there's a big use.
No, acrylic's amazing, isn't it?
It's a big use for it in commercial. So we're selling reverse acrylic art to the casino hotels here in Las Vegas right now. So they're all going to it in all the hotel rooms because it's maintenance free, right? The maid can literally spray it with Windex and wipe it off, and it's hard to break, it's hard to tear up, it doesn't get dog-eared, aged. There's not much you can do to it, and it lasts a long time. The hotels really, really like it because it looks sleek and elegant, right? And I was on a cruise ship a couple of weeks ago, and it was just the cruise ship was just riddled with the stuff. It was everywhere, and it's expensive. It's demanding a really good price right now, and you guys have a margin of you have a 65-70% margin in that stuff to retail. So it's a really good. I think that's the biggest trend, and also the other one is actually wall decal. Just straight up. I don't know if Jim, if that's actually on your wall behind you, or if that's a room divider, isn't it, or is that a virtual background?
Yeah, it's a room divider, but
Yeah.
I've made some wall art stuff on like sticker mule and stuff.
Yeah.
And I agree, especially because it's so easy to apply and take off.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty popular too. Those are the two biggest trends I know there.
No, I appreciate that feedback, Perry. And my other question was around, choosing between multiple sub niches. If you've got kind of 4 or 5 that tick the right boxes as far as volumes and being evergreen and such, how would you kind of make the deciding decision? What metric or factor would you look at for that?
Flip a coin. It doesn't matter. You're
Yeah,
just
fair
gonna
enough.
this first one that you're doing, you're just learning from it.
Mm.
So do something that's
So would
really
you
fun to
recommend
you.
like taking a first pancake approach to it, or kind of choosing your best, what you consider to be your best option?
I'd choose the thing that would be the most fun to you first,
Okay.
frankly, because you're going to
Okay.
learn from this. You're going to learn from this first niche.
No, makes sense. Thanks, Perry.
Thanks. Leanne, somebody asked, by the way, Leanne, while we're waiting for her question, somebody asked, what is Gleeky? Gleeky is it's a simple process. You take a piece of digitally printed art and you basically smear clear gel art medium on top of it. And it looks like it's got brush swirls in it. That's it. It sounds cooler than it really is. It's just, you've seen it before. If you've been around canvas art that looks like it's got brush strokes in it, that's how they do it. And they call it Gleeky. And it, for whatever reason, just adds a certain level. It also masks a lot of imperfections in the digital art. You can't really see that the digital art's digital once you've applied the Gleeky to it usually. So it takes away any small pixelization or digital print on the canvas or what have you. Okay. We're at Leanne.
Hi, Perry and everybody. Thank
Hey.
you so much for sharing this. This is so cool.
You're
I'm
welcome.
super excited about this. I apologize if I might have missed this, but I missed part of the first call. Is there kind of a checklist that we can use? Because I want to be real strategic picking this, whatever I do. I don't want to just randomly pick a product.
Not really a checklist. I mean, I don't want to get too checklisty with it. If for this first one, like I just told the gentleman a second ago, Jess, was a minute ago, just pick something you like.
Okay.
Pick something that you like, and you're going to learn from there. You really will. So if you don't like the thing, you're going to get bored with it pretty quickly. So pick something you have interest in. If you're into NASCAR or classic cars or knitting or whatever the hell it is that you do that you take joy from, or that you have interest in your career, or a certain kind of pet that you like, or if you're into potbelly pigs, potbelly pigs probably be a great market, by the way. If you're whatever it is that you're into, I'm starting to do a little recording once a week now for this space. That it will be for everybody, but I'm going to show 5 kind of obscure niches every week. Just niche ideas for print on demand, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. Now, some of the ones I've found lately have been pretty crazy weird, but there's markets for them. But just pick something you like in the beginning and follow the lesson today, and you'll get there. And guess what? If you're wrong, so what? It doesn't matter. You're going to learn a lesson, and you'll pick a different one next, right? This is the great news of this is all this takes is a little bit of your time and imagination. It doesn't take a financial investment to find out if a market works or not. Not really.
Yeah, no, I like that. So am I taking this from just idea, I just want to sell something to people who like potbelly pigs, or is the homework identify the niche as potbelly pigs, and then what do you want to sell them?
Just identify who the customer is, if you can figure out why they like potbelly pigs, what they like,
right?
And you'll look around and see if there's a market and people looking, for that sort of thing. You can use that little search tool for that to see. I promise you there isn't potbelly pigs. It's actually a bigger market than you would ever think. People have these little pigs in their house like dogs and cats. It's crazy. I got a friend of mine's got one. She loves that thing. But yeah, that's it. But don't pick potbelly pigs because I said potbelly pigs. If you don't know anything about potbelly pigs and you don't like potbelly pigs, don't pick that. Pick something that you like and you know something about right now for this first market.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So super simple.
Yeah, super simple.
Okay,
Ron?
cool.
Hi, Perry. Thank you for today's session. 2 questions.
Yeah.
For the medals, what is that called? The custom medal cutout with the bird?
Those are just laser cut metal silhouettes. And we do those, by the way, we actually print on those too. So we sell a ton. If you go to a site called Redline Steel, they're kind of the leaders in that market. And you can kind of see how they make money from that market. It's a great business. Margins,
Okay, awesome.
margins
Yeah.
are really good. The product can't hardly get damaged in shipping. It's a bigger ticket. You know, you're going to be somewhere between $50 and $150 retail on those things.
Okay, great.
yeah.
I'm really excited about possibly selling that. And then the second question is, can I choose a niche where the customer can provide their own arts or messaging?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I think those are, they're a bigger pain in the ass for you as the artist, but they're also much bigger margins, as you saw with the boating site.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Ron, was that you, Ron?
Yeah, that was me. Sorry.
Okay. So Dr. Jim, you're last up.
All right, Perry. So another quick question, and this may help other people too, but what do you think about attaching like a charity or something like that? I mean, it may be getting a little bit ahead, but like in my niche, there's a group out there called Cigars for Warriors, and they will donate cigars to deployed soldiers and stuff. And so having a piece where, you know, a percent of proceeds go as far as using that in your marketing and things.
I'm not personally a believer in those kinds of things, but in this market, in the swag market, it's probably not a bad idea. I don't do it. I've always been, you know, if you want to give money to a cause, go make some money and give that money to a cause. But I'm probably wrong. It's just a personal thing that just kind of irritates me. But I don't like buying that way, but most people do.
I think one marketer
support a cause
previously said that people like to, you know, feel like they're part of a cause or something.
They do. They really do.
But they don't take the time to do it themselves. And if they just
Right.
know automatically, you know, that a percent's going to go. But I do appreciate your
no
take.
worries. Mike asked if there was a way that you could go like a Barrett Jackson and print swag in a trailer and deliver it back in an hour or so. Yeah, you could. But probably only smaller stuff, probably shirts, hats, stuff like that, the heat transfer. But you'd have to have a transfer printer there, which you can buy your own transfer printer. But they're, you know, right now the direct to film transfer printers, the really small ones are really slow and they're still $4,000 or $5,000. The ones like we have in the office are 30 grand. They're pretty big. So, all right, guys. Well, I'm going to call it because dadgummit, 2 hours and 7 minutes. What do y'all want from me? I'm just joking. All right. I hope y'all had a great call and I'll see you next Thursday. Have your homework ready. Take care. See you soon. Recordings will be out hopefully later today. Thanks so much. See you soon.
Thanks, Perry. Thanks, everybody.